Hi, welcome to Biology A Week 2. This is your introduction video for the week. So this week in Grad Point, we're going to be looking at some basic chemistry concepts. So we know that all matter is made of atoms. And when we look at the periodic table of elements, the smallest particle of an element is the atom. So each atom on the periodic table of elements, or each atom, has its own name and it has its own number of protons, number of neutrons, and number of electrons that make it very unique. So when we look at this picture here, we see that the carbon atom is represented by the blue ball here and the oxygen atom represented by the red. Those two atoms are unique. They have their own number of protons, neutrons, and electrons. And when those atoms combine, as shown below, we see that they form a molecule. So this is a representation of carbon dioxide that has one carbon atom and two oxygen atoms. And that makes its own molecule. So some students tend to get a little hung up on some of the chemistry concepts because they weren't expecting that in biology. It's really basic. I think you'll do just fine, but if you have any problems, be sure to let me know. One molecule that we're going to be looking at in depth this week is water. So water is super important in biology. I would say it's the most important molecule. It is, as we know, H2O, so two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen. And when they combine, they form a bond that's called polar covalent. And all that really means is that they don't share their electrons equally. And in so, the property of water is really unique, and it's able to do things that make life possible, quite frankly. In fact, NASA's slogan for Mars exploration and search for life on other planets is called Follow the Water. That's where their scientists start, is looking for water because it's that important to life. After that, we're going to be starting our bioethics series. So what does that mean? Ethics are really how we should treat each other, what we should do, what is the right thing to do. That's what ethics are. And when you combine that with bioethics, you're applying that to life science concepts. So that frequently has to do with medicine, and because that's a lot of times a life concept that people are treating each other. So examples would be who should get an organ transplant, or how should we treat animals? Should we do medical testing on animals? And this week, the bioethics topic that we're going to look at in depth is vaccinations. So vaccinations are kind of a controversial topic, and people have their own opinion on them. In fact, I looked up some headlines just today. These headlines are all in the last couple of months for US News. So as you can see, the vaccination movement or anti-vaccination movement on the other side is really at the forefront of the American consciousness and across the world. So you're going to delve into that and the science behind some of those vaccinations and the history behind the vaccinations, which is really important to look at the evidence of whether or not vaccines are effective and if they are appropriate for people to be giving their children and themselves. So you're going to really look at a critical eye at some history of some diseases and the history of those vaccinations. I hope you have a great week. Please contact me if you have any questions.